What's going on, all you beautiful bastards? Oh, wait a minute. Hey, guy. That doesn't sound right either. Okay, we'll figure it out. So, Alec Baldwin, right? You know, that guy that starred in 30 Rock, you know, that show no one watches. You're probably more familiar with him from his time doing Trump impressions on Saturday Night Live, but he is apparently starring in this upcoming film Rust, which is about a 13-year-old boy who travels with his estranged grandfather to avoid the law. So yeah, you know, they don't do westerns as often as they did before, so seeing that will be interesting, but holy shit. So yesterday, Thursday, October 21st of 2021, Alec Baldwin shot a prop gun towards the director and the director of photography of this film, and it miraculously hit both of them. Don't understand how that works. It really sounds not great for Alec, but he seemed very upset about the issue. He was seen crying outside of the sheriff's office. They're in New Mexico where they're filming Rust, and so I don't think it was intentional by any means, but it is interesting to think about the prop gun itself. How did it manage to kill someone? I understand that blanks in the past have injured people and people have died from them, but you know, at this point in filmmaking, it feels like there should be a system in place where that kind of thing doesn't happen, even if someone is accidentally shot by, you know, a blank. So the prop makers probably fired, but let's get on to the director and the director of photography. So the director of photography was Halyna, sorry if I'm butchering the name, Halyna Hutchins, and she apparently started in Ukraine. She grew up in Ukraine and was an investigative journalist, later down the line working in Europe, and she was said to be a real go-getter, an adrenaline junkie, and it was said that there were high hopes for her. So it does really suck to hear that someone who had a lot of potential is no longer with us. So my condolences to her family. I'm sure they're very heartbroken. My condolences to Alec, because I'm sure he feels like shit. I mean, my God. I can't even imagine. Whenever I first heard the news, I was immediately thinking about how he felt, because that would just be traumatizing. I don't even know if I'd want to like go on filming, because it's pretty messed up, especially with the two people that happen to be hit. Like, what are the odds of that? It really does sound intentional on Alec's part, but I can't imagine it would be. You know, there's got to be, you know, too many crew members around in the first place for that to even be excused. Charges haven't been filed against him by Halyna's family. The director, luckily, is okay, so they can continue filming, you know, after she recovers, and after he recovers emotionally, mentally. So yeah, that's fucking crazy to me. I don't know, I guess to me, as someone who's going into the film industry, it's a little terrifying. Yeah, as someone who's going into the film industry, it's a little terrifying to now have to worry about being accidentally killed by a fake gun. Well, okay, they are real guns, but with fake bullets. So yeah, that's just crazy to think about. Oh, and the actual director of the film is Joel Souza. And they were actually both members of the IATSE. So the IATSE, otherwise known as the International Alliance of Theatrical several stage employees were fighting not obviously not physically. They were fighting the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers for more rights within production, getting more time for resting, adequate meal breaks, and livable wages. And they finally were able to reach an agreement before the scheduled strike on October 18th. So unfortunately, there weren't, people gathering in large crowds, being able to protest this, huge issue within the film and TV industry. But that's okay. It's a good thing that it didn't have to resort to any physical altercations of any kind, or affect many more people's jobs at that point. And then everyone was able to keep their jobs for the most part and be able to achieve those basic needs that any job should have and be able to provide. So there is that, and they were both parts of it. Halyna and Joel, both members of the IATSE. And Halyna did also support the protests beforehand, and she probably would have participated in it. And those are the kind of people that we need to keep in our lives, and we need to support. So to lose one of those good people that cares about people and about getting those basic human rights, it's someone will take her place, whether it's me or any of the other film students like myself. So yeah, that's insane. God, I feel really bad for. Wow, that's just a crazy situation. Anyway, that's about it. Deuces. Okay, so after reading up a little bit more, I discovered that there was actually a walkout for all of the camera crew except for Halyna. They were actually walking out because they were having to do really long drives from Santa Fe to Albuquerque each day during production, and it was really unfair to force them to do that after 12, 13 hours of shooting. It's very exhausting. I was just working on a production last weekend, and it is exhausting just standing, let alone actually doing a job consistently throughout those hours. And the producers actually forced them off location and brought in non-union members. So they kicked out these camera crew personnel because they're a part of the IATSE union, and they have all these fresh people who aren't part of the union yet, but they probably will be soon. But yeah, it's insane. It turned out that no one really claims to know that there were live rounds in the gun that was used, and so they tried to contact the person that was responsible for the prop gun, and even she claimed that she didn't know that there was a live round in it. So, and she is apparently the daughter of a prominent prop master. It's still very up in the air who put the live round in there in the first place. As it turns out, not only the prop maker might be fired, but it could be on the assistant director as well. It was revealed via the script supervisor, who claimed to have been right next to Halyna. She claimed to be having a conversation with another crew member about the assistant director's attitude towards her and how he was apparently yelling at her. And this is is Dave Hall, who has assistant director experience in other films and has participated in other productions as well, including the sequel to The Crow, which was the film where Brandon Lee had passed away. So that is interesting. But back to the assistant director, he's the one that actually handed the gun to Baldwin. And according to the script supervisor, it was actually his responsibility to check it as well. I would naturally assume it would be the prop maker's responsibility to check the gun and to notify the assistant director if a gun has a live round in it, but that did not happen. It's still unclear who is at fault, but it looks like it's not just on the prop master. It was described in detail that crew isn't actually supposed to be that close to the actual shooting, but the B camera operator, the DP, and the director as well were still close by to monitor the camera and make sure they were getting the right shot, which is understandable because you can't see it. I'm assuming because it's a low budget film, they didn't have monitors that could allow them to be separate from the action, so they were just using the monitors that were provided with the cameras, which understandably, due to budget cuts from the producers, I don't blame them. It really seems like most of the responsibility is on the producers here, and Rust Movie Productions was communicating with them about how they do their own internal investigation on the process or on how the event occurred in the first place. And the previous two events, whenever Alec Baldwin's stunt double was actually told that the gun was cold, which means that it does not have any live rounds or blanks, he was told that the gun was empty, and so he shot it off and 2 blanks shot out of it. So it's clear that the producers aren't staying on top of things in terms of safety. It just really seems so unsafe for them to be not going through the procedures like they're supposed to be doing with ammunition like this. Any sort of shooting requires a certain safety training and attention, to what's actually going on to make sure that everyone stays safe. It's clear from this that they did not care. And really, that's why ITSE was going to protest in the first place, is because it's clear that producers and executives and all these higher ups aren't really caring what happens. It seems like all they think about really is the money and how they want to be able to spend as little money as possible and make as much from it as possible, and that's just not possible. That's not realistic. And really what all these union members are trying to do is to have that accountability, to make sure that not only are they being forced to do their jobs, that everyone is, including producers and any other higher ups. And man, it's gotta suck to also be the director, because just imagine like the only reason that you survive is because there was someone in front of you. I mean, that's some Squid Game shit right there. Like, that's some red light, green light shit right there. That is, oh God. I mean, I imagine it's gonna be traumatizing for that camera op as well. Everyone that was closest to it, as well as those who were trying to help. It's been about a month since I recorded that footage, but there have been some developments in the story. So, first of all, the blame is still up in the air. So the armor in charge of the project, who is Hannah Gutierrez Reed. So after talking to her lawyers, she came out with a statement saying that she believes there was sabotage involved and that herself did not put the bullet in the gun, which that doesn't make much sense because she still failed to check the gun before the assistant director handed the gun to Baldwin, which, as it turns out, Baldwin in this shot wasn't actually firing the gun. Baldwin claims that the gun was never actually fired and that he never pulled the trigger, but that it fired upon being unholstered. And with the gun that they're using, it has to be cocked in order to be able to shoot. Also, Gutierrez Reed's father came out with a claim that, apparently Seth Kenney is someone who he was working with on a different project, who had asked for live ammunition for training, apparently, and that he speculated that Kenney, who was involved in the Rust production as well, may have somehow or transported the live ammunition onto this production, which he did also go on to deny, saying that that's just not possible, that they asked for the gun itself and the dummy rounds, that they even checked each round before giving it to them. So who knows? Also, so this bastard Alan Cheney, as well as Emily Salveson, who apparently are both part of Streamline Global Finance Company. So they were both, I believe, executive producers on this production, and Cheney even goes on to claim that Rust is a union-certified production in good standing with all of the major production unions and guilds, including IATSE, the Teamsters, SAG, and DGA. Buddy, and it says right under this, IATSE has ripped Rust for hiring non-union crew when the camera team walked out. You hired non-union crew. What? How can you claim that, buddy? Yeah, that's just dumb. That's dumb. Well, okay, so this is from Deadline. It looks like they were looking into, or trying to locate, who are the financiers of this project, and Cheney was identified as one of them. So Cheney sounds like a shady motherfucker, but again, no one's assuming responsibility. A CNN legal analyst claimed that Baldwin would be the least likely to experience any legal issues with this, despite him being the one that shot the gun. So this investigation, the Rust production started their own investigation as well as the investigation the police are doing. So we will just have to wait, it seems, and see what trail they can follow. It says that the Rust production is going to look into questioning their own staff extensively. Oh my God, I forgot. Okay, so Baldwin also, in an interview, he claimed that the production was going smoothly and that there were no issues between, crew members or anything, and that, we're just a loving community. We all came together with a goal, which makes Baldwin sound super suspicious. Like, I guess, he's still trying to, salvage his story. He himself seems to believe it won't be, so it's still a little confusing why, the camera crew even walked out. So clearly there were issues that Baldwin is not acknowledging. So it's curious what his position in all of this is, whether he's just trying to make it look like, everything was hunky-dory, or what, is going on. If there's any more updates, then I will probably put it in like a short or something, if I can figure out how to work YouTube Shorts. So we will go from there. So yeah, deuces. And now, a word from our sponsor. Do you like Legos? Do you like Nintendo? What about Target? You like Target? You like Mrs. Butterworth's? Oh, she gonna make me act up. Oh, you like Arizona's? Yeah. You like Ring devices? I do too. Well, you know what? None of them sponsor me, so they can go. Kidding. This could be an application. Sponsor me maybe in the future. Maybe. Maybe. Do it. Please. I like money. Please.